Welcome to the Silva Mind Control Method introductory session. The Silva Mind Control Method is the world's #1 mind development program, where you learn how to actually use the untapped power of your mind. My name is Dave Belizzi. I've been teaching the Silva Mind Control Method since 1980. I helped to specialize the course for athletes and salespeople, and I spent several years studying under Jose Silva, the creator of the Silva Mind Control Method. What is the Silva Mind Control Method? The Silva Mind Control Method, also known as the Silva Method, is a lot of things in one package. An excellent way to reduce and manage stress, a way to improve your health, a way to improve all aspects of your life, a way to get help and guidance from a higher power, a way to develop your intuition, also known as ESP, sixth sense, clairvoyance, psychic ability. What can the Silva Mind Control Method do for me? Well, here's a partial list. Which ones are you interested in? Develop and sustain a positive mental attitude to help you deal with and overcome obstacles. Discover what faith is and how to use it to help you. Reduce, control, and manage stress. Improve your health. Overcome a health condition. Strengthen your immune system. Overcome insomnia without drugs. Improve self-confidence. Overcome shyness and fears. Get more energy without the use of drugs or stimulants. Recall your dreams. Program a dream to solve a problem. Get rid of tension and migraine headaches without the use of drugs. Improve your memory. Improve your grades in school. Use the power of visualization to help you achieve your goals, solve problems, improve performance. Stop bleeding and hemorrhaging. Overcome unwanted habits and addictions. Improve relationships. Get help or guidance from a higher power and communicate better with that entity. Develop your intuition, ESP, sixth sense, clairvoyance, psychic ability. Become an empath. Make correct decisions. Sense future industry and market trends. Sense and avoid danger. Communicate mentally with others. Sense their thoughts, their real intentions. Project a thought to them. Select the right people to help you to do a job. Determine if something is good for you, whether it be medication, food, diet, surgery, procedure, etc. And discover the most effective way to pray for someone. How was the Silva Mind Control Method developed? The Silva Mind Control Method was developed and created in 1966 by Jose Silva after 22 years of research. Jose started out as a radio and TV repairman in Laredo, Texas. Born in 1914, he was the second of 3 children. He had an older sister and a younger brother. Jose's father died in the Mexican Revolution when he was 4 years old. At the age of 6, Jose became the breadwinner of the family. He held many jobs. He shined shoes, sold newspapers, and cleaned offices to support the family. One day, while waiting to get a haircut, he came across a booklet on electronics. He started to read it and became fascinated with the subject. He asked the barber if he could take it home and study it. The booklet happened to be part of a home study course the barber had enrolled in. The barber made a deal with Jose. Take the booklet home, study the material, and take the course in his name. Jose agreed. Jose passed the course, and the barber hung the diploma in his shop. Jose decided to open a radio repair shop in Laredo. It became one of the most successful businesses in Laredo. When Jose was drafted into the Army in 1944, he decided to sell the business so his family would have enough money to survive while he was away and in case he didn't come back alive. While at the induction table, the officer at the table asked Jose some strange questions. Do you wet the bed? Do you like women? Jose thought the questions were odd. He asked the officer why he was asking such odd questions. Well, the officer replied that he was a psychiatrist. And Jose asked how he could study more about that field. And the officer gave him the name of a book to study. Jose read the book, and it led him to read additional books on psychiatry, psychology, and hypnosis. Jose became a pretty good hypnotist on his own in his spare time. When Jose returned home after the war, he reopened his radio repair business and started teaching electronics at the local junior college. One day, his oldest daughter came home with a poor report card. He wondered if he could use hypnosis to help her get better grades. As an experiment, he would hypnotize his daughter every night after work and read her homework assignments and add in a post-hypnotic suggestion to help her recall their information. It worked wonders. She was now getting straight A's in school. However, one day, while doing their hypnotic homework, something happened that changed Jose's life and career path. While in her hypnotic state, Jose's daughter knew in advance what questions he was going to ask. She shouted out the answers. He thought it was a fluke, but it continued on a daily basis. This led Jose to start studying other fields: parapsychology, ESP, reincarnation, and psychic healing. Now his daughter became a test subject. He wanted to see if he could duplicate his experiments, so he decided to use his other children as test subjects. He had quite a few of them by then, 5, to experiment on. Same results. Wondering if it may be a family ability, he decided to use some children from the neighborhood as test subjects. Same results. Jose thought he was onto something big, wonderful, and useful. He reached out to Dr. J.B. Ryan of Duke University, who was conducting experiments in ESP. That's Dr. Ryan's picture in the top right. The two men met, and Dr. Ryan laughed at Jose's experiments because Jose had no educational degrees. Jose never went to school a day in his life, and he had no research background. He called Jose an amateur, and Dr. Ryan also believed ESP couldn't be taught. Undaunted, Jose invited several researchers, scientists, psychiatrists, and psychologists to Texas to witness his experiments. Several were very impressed with his work and decided to collaborate with him. They wanted Jose to develop a formalized method that he could use to teach his ability to others. Jose developed a formalized method and kept tweaking it while he traveled around Texas teaching his method. He decided to call it the Silva Mind Control Method, a method that teaches people how to use the untapped power of their mind to solve problems, a method that shows people how to control their own minds. Once word got out, the demand became overwhelming. Not only did people in other parts of the state want to learn his method, others in other parts of the country wanted to learn his method. So Jose began training others to teach his method. Eventually, word spread to other countries, and as of today, the Silva Mind Control Method is taught in over 110 countries worldwide, and millions of people have taken the training. Celebrities, professional athletes, doctors, white-collar workers, blue-collar workers, college students, people from all walks of life. Portions of the training can be learned by reading many of the books, tapes, and CDs published about the Silva Mind Control Method. The first book that was published in 1977 by Simon & Schuster, which is pictured in these slides, became a New York Times bestseller. However, the live training remains the easiest, most effective, and most comprehensive way to learn the Silva Mind Control Method and how to apply it to the various aspects of your life. Through our testing and experimenting, we're now able to put the live training online. How does the Silva Mind Control Method work? Jose Silva, the founder of the Silva Mind Control Method, developed this scale of brain evolution chart to help explain our concepts and simplify a complex subject. In the horizontal middle of the chart, which is actually this part over here in the middle, are the 4 basic brain waves our brain produces as detected by an electroencephalograph, also known as an EEG machine. The 4 basic brain waves are beta, alpha, theta, and delta. As our heart beats, our brain vibrates. Heart rate is measured in beats per minute. Brain vibrations, also known as brain wave frequencies, are measured in cycles per second, or CPS. Now, the brain produces all 4 frequencies at the same time. One is usually more dominant than the others at certain times. The black band is the delta brainwave frequency. When the brain produces dominant delta waves, it vibrates between 1 and 4 cycles per second. This is the dominant brainwave frequency detected in people who are in the deepest levels of sleep and when unconscious, when knocked out unconscious, and when in a coma. The delta brainwave frequency is also the dominant brainwave frequency in children between the ages of birth to age 4. Delta is also the dominant brainwave frequency when people are on the verge of dying. The red band is the theta brainwave frequency. When the brain produces dominant theta waves, it vibrates between 4 and 7 cycles per second. This is the dominant brainwave frequency detected in people who are in deep sleep, in deep meditation, and when hypnotized to undergo painless surgery, dentistry, childbirth, etc. The theta brainwave frequency is also the dominant brainwave frequency in children between the ages of 4 and 7. The green band is the alpha brainwave frequency. When the brain produces dominant alpha waves, it vibrates between 7 to 14 cycles per second. This is the dominant brainwave frequency detected in people who are dreaming while asleep, also known as REM or rapid eye movement sleep. The alpha brainwave frequency is also the dominant brainwave frequency in children between the ages of 7 and 14. The blue band is the beta brainwave frequency. When the brain produces dominant beta waves, it vibrates between 14 and 21 cycles per second. This is the dominant brainwave frequency detected in people when they're awake doing day-to-day activities. The beta brainwave frequency is also the dominant brainwave frequency in people over age 14. Brainwaves correlate with age. As we grow older from birth, we progress through the different brainwave frequencies. So brainwaves are also associated with age. Let's explain what's to the left and the right sides of the brain waves on the chart. The left side over here represents the body, and the right side over here represents the mind. The center represents the brain. Beta is associated with what we call our outer conscious levels, your conscious mind. When we're in beta, we're awake, functioning in the physical or objective world, using our 5 physical senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and doing day-to-day activities. In the physical or objective world, or dimension, we are limited by time and space. It takes us a certain amount of time to get from one place to another, and we spend most of our waking day at this level, in the blue band. Alpha and theta are associated with what we call our inner conscious levels, your subconscious mind. Normally, we only access these levels during sleep. We're not able to function at these levels when we're awake. When we learn how to function consciously at these levels, function consciously in a sleep state, we're in the mental, subjective, spiritual, and non-physical world. In the mental or subjective, spiritual, non-physical world or dimension, we are not limited by time and space. We can think or dream about something in the past. We can think or dream about being in another location. And at these levels, we can also sense information. Information is not available to our 5 physical senses. We can sense when something is going to happen. Some of us get precognitive dreams or premonitions or strong feelings. At these levels, we can also project our mind to any location to detect information. Legitimate psychics, legitimate faith healers, very creative people, and very successful business people function at these levels. They somehow learned or naturally developed the ability to access these levels while awake. You may have heard Paul McCartney of the Beatles say that many of his songs just came to him or came to him in a dream. He's what we call a natural alpha thinker, someone who can naturally function at these levels while awake. About 10% of the people on the planet are natural alpha thinkers. Scientists call this ability ESP, or extrasensory perception. We call it effective sensory projection because it's not an extra sense. It's an untapped sense that we all have. And we can use this sense not only to receive information, but to also project somewhere to detect information. A natural alpha thinker is also psychic. They can sense information that is not available to their 5 physical senses. They make more correct decisions than others. They get hunches, gut feelings that eventually prove to be correct. They get premonition of things that will happen. They get ideas for inventions, great pieces of work, whether it be in art or music, than others admires. They get great ideas that no one else thought of, ideas that solve problems. So where does this information come from? Thin air? The cosmos? A higher intelligence? The future? Other people's thoughts? Mr. Silva liked to refer to it as the other side. And that's one of the benefits of being able to function at the alpha brainwave frequency with conscious awareness. And that's what the Silva Mind Control method can train people to do, and train you to do. When a person reaches the age of 15 or above, when he or she is walking, talking, and functioning in the physical or objective dimension at the beta brainwave frequency, using their conscious mind, their brain is vibrating at approximately 20 cycles per second. They are what we call beta thinkers. In his younger days, Mr. Silva studied electricity. He had a very successful radio and TV repair business. In electricity, the strongest electrical frequency or current is at the center. Interesting enough, the strongest brainwave frequency is at 10 cycles per second, the center or middle of the brain wave frequency range. Since 10 cycles per second is the strongest brainwave frequency, it would make sense to be able to access it as much as possible. The immune system strengthens when we stay at the alpha brainwave frequency consciously for 15 minutes. The colors on the scale of brain evolution chart also correspond to the colors of electrical wires. It's interesting how brain waves also correlate to electricity or energy. A discovery that Mr. Silva accidentally or coincidentally came across. So what the Silva Mind Control method does is train you to be able to consciously lower your brainwave frequency from beta, 20 cycles per second, to alpha, approximately 10 cycles per second, and remain awake. You learn how to remain conscious in a subconscious state. You learn how to function in a sleep state. You learn how to function in another dimension. You turn the subconscious into an inner conscious. You learn to get what you want. You learn how to tap the power of your subconscious mind and use it to program yourself to get what you want. You'll also learn how to project your mind to any location to detect information and solve problems. We call this the next phase of human evolution. The more people who learn how to function at these inner levels, the less problems we'll have, and the more we'll be able to do to make this a better world to live in. We'll have more alpha thinkers and less beta thinkers. The great thing about being a trained alpha thinker versus a natural alpha thinker is that a trained alpha thinker can access these levels whenever they need to solve a problem. And that's one advantage of being a trained alpha thinker. Now, if you notice on the slide, deep-rooted beliefs are embedded in childhood at theta, delta, and alpha, the 3 strongest brainwave frequencies. Now, they may be conscious or unconscious beliefs, and they may help us or hinder us. So how do I develop the ability to function at alpha with conscious awareness? Well, Mr. Silva discovered that it takes 10 hours of conditioning to develop this ability, to think at alpha and remain awake. After 22 years of research, he developed a mental training exercise or conditioning to accomplish this goal, and he called it the Silva Centering Exercise. If you listen to and follow the instructions in the Silva Centering Exercise for 10 hours, you'll develop the ability to function at alpha with conscious awareness. While Mr. Silva was tweaking his method, he discovered and added some additional helpful techniques that people can use to improve all aspects of their lives. Techniques to help you solve problems, make correct decisions. And he added these techniques to the Silva Centering Exercise. Then he discovered that he could modify the Silva Centering Exercise for each technique. And that's the nuts and bolts of the Silva Mind Control method. which you'll be learning in this online version of the original course, which Mr. Silva called the Basic Lecture Series, or BLS. Mr. Silva divided the original course into 4 segments: 101, 202, 303, and 404. He modeled it after college courses that have advanced or additional study material, like Accounting 101, Accounting 202, Accounting 303, and Accounting 404. Now, the BLS was typically taught in the meeting room, like a hotel. The course was normally taught over 2 consecutive weekends. The typical schedule was 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on all 4 days. Some Silva instructors varied the schedule to 4 days in a row, 4 Saturdays in a row, 4 Sundays in a row, or did 4 hours of the course one night a week in their home, a local meeting room, or at a high school through an adult education